Before we dive in, please remember that this video is for informational purposes only. I'm sharing extensive research and analysis, but I am not a career counselor or financial advisor. Your individual results will depend entirely on your own effort, your background, and the job market at the time you apply. This presentation is not a guarantee of employment. You are 3 to 6 months away from a career in tech. No, you don't need to know how to code. You don't need a 4-year computer science degree. And you absolutely do not need tens of thousands of dollars in student debt. All you need is an internet connection and the willingness to learn a specific set of skills that some of the biggest companies in the United States are desperately hiring for right now. I'm talking about companies like Google, Deloitte, Target, Verizon, and Bank of America. How do I know this? Because right now, as I'm recording this, there are over 375,000 open IT support jobs in the United States. And the median salary for those jobs? Over $60,000 a year. That's not a starting salary for a senior engineer with a decade of experience. That's the median pay for an entry-level role that serves as the gateway to the entire tech industry. This is the single biggest opportunity that nobody is talking about. Let's be honest. You're here because you feel stuck. Maybe you're working a retail job, a food service job, or a warehouse job where you're on your feet all day, feeling underpaid and completely unappreciated. You watch the world talking about tech money and remote work, and it feels like a party you weren't invited to. You think the only ticket to that party is a 4-year college degree, a mountain of debt, and some kind of genius-level math brain you just don't have. I'm here to tell you that is a lie. It's an outdated model from a world that doesn't exist anymore. The world has changed. The way we learn has changed. And most importantly, what companies are looking for has changed. They don't just care about a piece of paper from a university anymore. They care about one thing: can you do the job? Do you have the skills to solve their problems today? And that is where the Google IT Support Professional Certificate comes in. This isn't just another online course. This isn't some YouTube tutorial playlist. This is a guided, structured, industry-recognized program created by the people at Google to train you from scratch for the exact jobs that are sitting open right now. Think of it as a trade school for the digital age. It's a direct pipeline from where you are now to where you want to be. Why is this specific certificate the key? Why not one of the hundreds of others? 3 reasons. First, the name. Google. When you walk into an interview, or more likely, when your resume lands on a recruiter's screen, that name carries an incredible amount of weight. It's an immediate signal of quality. It tells them you haven't just learned theory. You've learned a practical curriculum designed by one of the most important tech companies on the planet. It's a stamp of approval that opens doors that would otherwise be bolted shut. Second, it's designed for absolute beginners. I want to repeat that. You are not expected to know anything about computers beyond how to turn one on and browse the internet. The program starts from zero. It assumes nothing. It takes you by the hand and teaches you the fundamentals of how computers work, how networks connect them, how operating systems run them, and how to keep it all secure. It's designed to take someone working at a coffee shop or a call center and methodically build their knowledge, layer by layer, until they are a confident, competent IT professional. And third, and this is the most important part, it's not just about learning. It's about getting hired. Once you complete the certificate, you gain access to the Google Career Certificates Employer Consortium. That sounds like a fancy corporate term, but what it means for you is everything. It's a group of over 150 companies, big national companies, that are actively looking to hire graduates of this specific program. You get access to a private job board. You're fast-tracked. Your resume gets a second look because those companies have partnered with Google. They trust the training. They want people with your exact skills. This isn't about learning and then being thrown to the wolves to figure out the job hunt on your own. This is a complete system designed to get you a job. I've spent hundreds of hours digging into this, talking to graduates and analyzing the curriculum, and the success stories are staggering. People going from earning minimum wage to making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year in less than a year. Single parents who can now work from home and be there for their kids. Military veterans finding a new high-demand civilian career. This isn't a fantasy. It's a repeatable process. Now you're probably thinking, this sounds too good to be true. Or, I'm just not a tech person. I'm not good with computers. Let's smash that second belief right now. The idea of a tech person is a myth. You don't need a special kind of brain. You just need to be a good problem solver. Can you follow a recipe? Can you put together IKEA furniture? Can you figure out why your Wi-Fi isn't working by turning the router off and on again? If you can do that, you have the fundamental mindset of an IT professional. It's about curiosity, logic, and a methodical approach to solving puzzles. The certificate teaches you the technical side, but the core skill is just being willing to figure things out. And let's redefine what IT support even means. We're not just talking about being the help desk person who resets passwords all day, though that can be part of it. Think of IT support as being the doctor for a company's technology. You are the first responder. You are the essential worker who keeps the entire digital infrastructure of a business running. Without you, sales can't make sales, marketing can't market, and executives can't even check their email. You are the backbone. More importantly, it is the ultimate launchpad. You don't have to stay in IT support forever. It is the single best entry point into literally any other field in technology. You start here, you learn the fundamentals of how everything works, and then you can pivot. Do you find cybersecurity fascinating? Great IT support is the foundation. Want to work with the cloud and Amazon Web Services? It starts here. Network engineering, system administration, it all starts with the foundational knowledge you get from this certificate. It's not a dead end. It's the main entrance to the entire tech world. So here's what we're going to do. Over the course of this video, I am going to give you the complete blueprint. We're going to break down exactly what's inside each of the 5 courses in the certificate. We will talk about the real cost, not just the sticker price, and how you can potentially get it for a massive discount or even for free. We'll discuss how long it actually takes the average person to finish it, not the marketing estimate. And then we'll get to the most critical part, the strategy. How to build your resume, how to practice for interviews, and how to leverage that employer consortium to turn this certificate into a job offer. If you're tired of feeling like you're on the outside looking in, if you're ready to trade an hourly wage for a real salary and a career with upward mobility, then you are in the right place. Because what Google has built here isn't just a course, it's a key. And I'm about to show you exactly how to use it to unlock a new future for yourself. Let's get started. So what is this thing really? The Google IT Support Professional Certificate. Let's strip away the fancy name for a second. At its core, it's a 5-course online program, hosted on Coursera, designed from the ground up by actual senior IT professionals at Google. Their mission was simple but radical. Create a direct path for anyone, and I mean anyone regardless of their background, to get the exact skills needed to land an entry-level IT support job. No college degree required. No prior experience necessary. They promise you can be job ready in about 6 months, studying less than 10 hours a week. Now I know what you're thinking. Sounds too good to be true. We've all seen those online courses that promise the world and deliver a folder of outdated PDFs. Is this just another one of those? That's the million-dollar question, and the answer is a definitive no. And the reason why lies in how it's structured. It's not just a collection of information. It's a carefully crafted journey. A journey that takes you from knowing absolutely nothing about professional IT to being able to confidently walk into an interview and solve real-world problems. This journey is broken down into 5 stages, or 5 courses. Think of them as the 5 essential pillars you need to build your entire tech career on. The first course is called Technical Support Fundamentals. This is ground zero. This is where they take the assumption that you know nothing, and that's a good thing. They don't want you to have any bad habits. Here you learn the very language of IT. You'll learn what a CPU actually does, the difference between RAM and a hard drive, and how an operating system like Windows or Mac OS acts as the soul of the machine. But here's the critical part that most people miss. This first course isn't just about the hardware. It's about learning how to think like a problem solver. It's about mastering the art of troubleshooting. They teach you how to ask the right questions, how to isolate a problem, and how to communicate a complex technical issue to someone who is frustrated and just wants their computer to work. This is the customer service magic that separates a good technician from a great one. You're not just fixing a machine, you're helping a person. This first pillar is your foundation. Next, you move on to the second course, the bits and bytes of computer networking. Okay, deep breath. The word networking scares a lot of people. Sounds complicated and invisible, but this is where the program truly shines. Google's instructors are masters at taking these abstract concepts and making them crystal clear. They use incredible analogies. You'll learn to think of the internet not as some magical cloud, but as a massive, intricate postal service. You'll understand what an IP address is. It's just the street address for your computer. You'll learn what a router does. It's the local post office directing all the mail. You'll understand protocols like TCP/IP, which are just the rules of the road that ensure all the digital packages get to where they're going without crashing into each other. Why is this so important? Because in today's world, a computer that isn't connected to a network is basically a brick. Every single IT problem, from a printer not working to an entire office losing internet, is a networking problem at some level. Mastering this pillar means you can solve a massive percentage of the issues you'll face on the job. With that under your belt, you're ready for the third course, operating systems and you becoming a power user. This is where you go from being a passenger to being the pilot of the computer. Most of us just point and click. We use the pretty icons and menus that Windows and macOS give us. This course peels back that layer and introduces you to the command line. Now, the command line might look intimidating. It's that black screen with blinking text you see in hacker movies, but it's actually your best friend. It's the most powerful tool in your arsenal. It lets you speak directly to the computer's brain, telling it exactly what to do without any of the fluff. You'll learn how to manage files, install software, and control user permissions with a few keystrokes. You'll learn to do in 10 seconds what used to take you 10 minutes of clicking around. This is a massive confidence booster. When you can navigate both the graphical user interface and the command line, on both Windows and Linux systems, you are no longer just a user. You are an administrator. You are in control. That newfound control leads you directly into the fourth pillar, system administration and IT infrastructure services. This is where you level up from managing one computer to managing hundreds, or even thousands. This is the reality of a corporate IT job. You'll learn about the software and services that run in the background of almost every company in America. You'll dive into things like directory services, think of Active Directory or OpenLDAP. These sound complex, but they're really just a centralized phone book for the entire company's network. They keep track of every user, every computer, and what each one is allowed to do. You'll learn how to set up a new employee's account, give them access to the right printers and folders, and manage their software from a single central location. This is where you learn how to scale your skills. It's the difference between being a local handyman and being the foreman on a massive construction site. This course teaches you how to manage the digital infrastructure of an entire business. Finally, you arrive at the fifth and final course, the one that ties everything together, IT security. Defense against the digital dark arts. This is the cool part. You learn about encryption, authentication, firewalls, and all the tools and techniques used to protect a network from those who would do it harm. You'll learn to recognize phishing scams, understand how viruses and malware work, and most importantly, how to build a defense in layers. They teach you to think like an attacker in order to build a better defense. This isn't just about running an antivirus scan. It's about understanding risk, creating policies, and building a culture of security. In today's world where a single data breach can cost a company millions of dollars, this skill is not just valuable, it's absolutely essential. Completing this pillar makes you the first line of defense, the digital guardian standing between your company's valuable data and the threats of the outside world. So, you see, these 5 courses are not random. They are a logical progression. They build on each other brick by brick until you have a solid, comprehensive foundation. You start with a single computer, then you learn how it talks to other computers, then you learn how to command it, then you learn how to manage a whole fleet of them, and finally you learn how to protect them all. Google didn't just guess what you need to know. They looked at the thousands of IT support specialists they've hired over the years. They analyzed the most common problems they solve, the most critical skills they use every single day, and they built this certificate backward from that real-world data. It's not academic theory. It's a direct download of the practical, hands-on knowledge required to do the job from day one. It's the cheat code, and that's why it works. It's not about memorizing trivia. It's about building muscle memory for problem solving. Through a combination of video lectures, quizzes, and hands-on labs, you are constantly doing, not just watching. You'll be setting up your own virtual networks, troubleshooting simulated computer problems, and writing scripts to automate tasks. You're building a portfolio of experience before you even have the job. Now, knowing what the certificate covers is one thing. But the next, and arguably bigger, question for most of us is about the practicalities. It all sounds great, but realistically, how do you fit this into your life? How much time does it really take? And let's not forget the bottom line. What is this all going to cost? Because a key is useless if the lock it opens is inside a bank vault you can't afford to get into. Let's break down the time and the money so you can see just how achievable this really is. So let's talk numbers, starting with the one everyone cares about most. The money. The Google IT Support Certificate is hosted on Coursera, and their model is a monthly subscription. As of right now, that subscription costs around $49 a month in the United States. Now, your first instinct might be to multiply that by 12 and get a yearly cost, but that's the wrong way to think about it. This isn't a gym membership you pay for and never use. The total cost is directly tied to how fast you complete the program. The faster you learn, the less you pay. Google officially estimates that it takes the average learner, studying less than 10 hours a week, about 6 months to finish all 5 courses. Let's do the math on that. 6 months times $49 is $294. Let that sink in. For less than $300, less than the cost of a single textbook at a 4-year university, you can get a professional career-launching certificate designed by Google. That's the standard path, the I have a full-time job and a family path. It's designed to be manageable. But what if you have more time? What if you're unemployed, underemployed, or just so motivated to change your life that you're ready to sprint? I've seen countless people in online forums and Reddit communities treat this like a boot camp. They dedicate 20, 30, even 40 hours a week to it. And they don't finish in 6 months. They finish in 3 or 2. If you finish in 3 months, your total investment is $147. If you knock it out in 2, it's $98. We are talking about a career change for the price of a nice dinner for 2. And then there's the superhuman path. The people who go all in and finish the entire thing in a single month. Total cost, $49. It's possible. It's intense, but it's absolutely possible. The platform doesn't stop you. The only limit is your own drive. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Even $49 is a stretch for me right now. I get it. And so do Google and Coursera. Which is why they have a mechanism that is, without a doubt, one of the most under-discussed and life-changing aspects of this entire program: financial aid. This is not a loan. You do not have to pay it back. It is a grant. If you qualify, you can get access to the entire certificate program for a grand total of $0. Zero. Zilch. Nada. The process is straightforward. For each of the 5 courses in the certificate, you click a small financial aid available link next to the Enroll button. You'll be asked to fill out an application, which includes some basic information about your income and education. The most important part is a 150-word essay explaining why you need the aid and how this certificate will help you achieve your career goals. Let me give you some advice here. Be honest. Be genuine. Tell your story. Are you a single parent trying to build a better future for your kids? Are you stuck in a dead-end job with no room for growth? Did you lose your job and are now looking to pivot into a more stable industry? Explain your passion for technology and your commitment to finishing the course. Pour your motivation into those 150 words. After you submit it, there's about a 15-day waiting period for approval. Once you're approved, you get full access to the course. You do this for each of the 5 courses, and you can complete the entire program without spending a single dime. Think about the sheer power of that. The single biggest barrier to education and career advancement, cost, is completely removed from the equation. It's an incredible act of democratizing education. So when we talk about the cost, the spectrum runs from a couple $100s down to absolutely free. Compare that to the alternatives. A 4-year computer science degree can cost anywhere from $40,000 to over $200,000. A private coding bootcamp can easily run you $15,000 to $20,000, often with predatory income-sharing agreements on the back end. The Google IT certificate is in a league of its own when it comes to return on investment. But money is only half of the investment equation. The other, and arguably more precious, resource is your time. So, what does the time commitment actually look like? Let's go back to Google's estimate: under 10 hours a week. This is the key to its accessibility. This isn't a program that demands you quit your job and abandon your life. It's designed to integrate into it. What does 10 hours a week actually feel like? It's 1 hour after work on Monday and Wednesday. It's watching the video lectures on your phone during your bus commute. It's a focused 4-hour session on a Saturday morning, while the rest of the house is quiet. It's trading 1 hour of scrolling through social media for 1 hour of upskilling. Let's map out a hypothetical week. Maybe you spend 30 minutes each morning, Monday through Friday, just watching the videos. That's 2.5 hours right there. Then, on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, you spend 2 hours each night doing the hands-on labs and taking the quizzes. That's another 4 hours. You cap it off with a 3-hour deep dive on Saturday. You're at 9.5 hours. You've met the goal, you're on track to finish in 6 months, and you still had your Friday night and your entire Sunday free. It's about consistency, not intensity. Now, for those of you who want to go faster, the 2 or 3 month sprinters, the math just scales up. To finish in 3 months, you're looking at roughly 20 hours a week. This is like taking on a serious part-time job. It requires discipline. You'll be dedicating most of your evenings and a significant chunk of your weekend to studying. It's a period of intense focus. You have to say no to some things, social events, binge watching that new series, to say yes to your future. It's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term, life-altering reward. The beauty of the Coursera platform is its flexibility. The content is broken down into small, digestible chunks. A video might be 5 minutes long. A reading might take 10. Quiz 15. You can chip away at it whenever you have a spare moment. Waiting in line at the grocery store? Knock out a video. On your lunch break? Finish a quiz. The learning fits your life, not the other way around. There are no rigid lecture times. You don't have to be in front of a computer at 7 p.m. every Tuesday. You can study at midnight, you can study at 5 a.m. You are in complete control of your own schedule. This self-paced nature is what makes it possible for a single mom to study after her kids are asleep, or for a warehouse worker to learn during their breaks. The question you have to ask yourself is not, do I have the time? The real question is this a big enough priority for me to make the time? Because the time is there. It's hidden in the moments we give away to distraction. This certificate gives you a concrete, high-value reason to reclaim those moments for yourself. So the investment is clear. On the money side, it's a spectrum from a few $100s down to completely free. On the time side, it's a flexible commitment of 10 to 20 hours a week for a few short months. The barrier to entry has never been lower. This isn't a mountain you have to climb. It's a set of stairs, and Google is holding the door open for you at the top. But an investment is only as good as its return. What skills are you actually buying with your time and money? What's inside this digital treasure chest? In the next part, we're going to pull back the curtain on the 5 courses that make up this certificate. We're talking about the nuts and bolts, the command lines, the operating systems, the exact tangible skills that hiring managers are desperate for right now. So let's dive right in. The Google IT Support Certificate isn't just one monolithic course. It's a carefully structured journey, broken down into 5 distinct, stackable courses. Think of it less like a single textbook and more like a 5-stage rocket, where each stage fires in sequence to propel you into a new career orbit. The first course, the foundational stage, is called Technical Support Fundamentals. And honestly, the name doesn't do it justice. This is more than fundamentals. This is where you learn to speak the language of computers. Before this course, you're a tourist in the land of technology, pointing at things and using a phrasebook. After this course, you're a local. You understand the culture, the grammar, the syntax. It starts with the very basics. What is a computer? Not just the box on your desk, but the concept. You'll learn about the binary system, the ones and zeros, not in a boring, abstract way, but as the simple alphabet that every single piece of technology uses to communicate. You'll crack open a virtual computer and identify every component: the motherboard, the CPU, the RAM, the hard drive. You'll understand not just what they are, but how they work together in a symphony of electricity and logic. This is the moment the magic disappears and is replaced by something far more powerful: understanding. Then it moves to software. You'll learn the difference between an operating system and an application, how software is installed, and more importantly, how it's uninstalled cleanly. It covers the big 3: Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, giving you the lay of the land for any environment you might walk into. Finally, it demystifies the internet. You type google.com and hit enter. What happens next? This course traces that request from your keyboard through your house across the country to a Google server, and back in a fraction of a second. This first course is your Rosetta Stone. It's designed to take you from zero, from someone who just uses a computer, to someone who understands it. And that understanding is the bedrock of everything else to come. Next, you ignite the second stage of the rocket, the bits and bytes of computer networking. If the first course taught you about a single computer, this one teaches you how the entire world of computers talks to each other. This is where you become a digital detective. Networking is the #1 source of problems in any IT environment. The Wi-Fi is down. I can't get to the website. My email isn't sending. These are the daily drumbeats of an IT support role. And this course gives you the tools to solve them. You'll learn the 5-layer internet model. Now that sounds intimidating, I know. It sounds like something from an engineering textbook. But Google breaks it down with incredible analogies. They explain it like a postal service for data, where each layer is responsible for one part of the journey. Addressing the envelope, choosing the route, ensuring the package arrives intact. You'll learn about IP addresses, DNS, and DHCP. These aren't just acronyms anymore. They become clues. You'll understand that when you can't reach a website, the problem could be with your computer, your router, your internet service provider, or the website server itself. And you'll learn how to systematically test each link in that chain to find the break. This course gives you a superpower: the ability to see the invisible network that connects us all. When you finish this, you'll never look at a Wi-Fi symbol the same way again. You'll see the intricate dance of protocols and packets that makes our modern world possible. The third course is operating systems and you becoming a power user. This is where you go from being a driver to being a master mechanic. Most people interact with their computer through a pretty graphical interface. They click on icons, they drag and drop files. It's safe, it's simple, but it's also limiting. This course throws open the hood. You'll dive deep into the two most important operating systems in the professional world: Windows and Linux. You'll learn how to manage them not with clicks but with commands. You'll be introduced to the command line interface, or CLI. That black screen with the flashing cursor that you see in hacker movies? That's the command line. And it's not scary, it's powerful. It's like having a direct conversation with the computer's brain. You'll learn how to navigate file systems, manage user permissions, and run processes with a level of precision and speed you can't achieve with a mouse. Why is this so critical? Because in the world of servers, the backbone of the internet and corporate networks, there often is no graphical interface. It's all command line. An employer who sees that you are comfortable in both a Windows and a Linux command line environment doesn't just see an IT support candidate. They see a potential system administrator. They see someone who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty and who understands how things really work. This course is a massive differentiator. It separates the help desk from the IT professional. Now we're getting to the heavy hitters. Course 4 is System Administration and IT Infrastructure Services. If the previous courses taught you how to fix one car, this one teaches you how to manage an entire fleet for a multinational corporation. This is where you zoom out from a single user's problem to the health of an entire organization's IT infrastructure. You'll learn about directory services, specifically Microsoft's Active Directory, and the open-source OpenLDAP. This is the central nervous system of most companies, a database that manages every user, every computer, and what they're allowed to do. You'll learn how to create new user accounts, reset passwords, and manage group policies, the exact tasks a junior sysadmin does on day one. But then it goes a step further. It introduces you to the cloud. You'll learn the difference between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. You'll understand what it means when a company says they're migrating to AWS or using Google Cloud. You'll learn how to spin up a virtual server in the cloud, configure it, and manage it remotely. This is huge. The entire industry is moving to the cloud. By learning these skills, you're not just learning for the jobs of today. You're preparing for the jobs of tomorrow. This course is the bridge. It's the link that connects entry-level support with the more advanced, higher-paying roles in system administration and cloud engineering. Finally, the fifth and final course, the one that ties it all together: IT security, defense against the digital dark arts. You've learned how to build the computers, connect them into a network, and manage them for an entire organization. Now, you learn how to protect it all. In today's world, every single IT job is a security job. A company's most valuable asset is its data, and you are on the front lines defending it. This course teaches you to think like an attacker. You'll learn about the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability, the three pillars of information security. You'll dive into encryption, what it is, how it works, and why it's so essential for protecting data both when it's stored and when it's moving across the internet. You'll learn how to identify and mitigate the most common threats: phishing scams, malware, ransomware, and social engineering. You'll learn about tools for monitoring network traffic and spotting malicious activity. This isn't just about memorizing threats. It's about developing a security mindset. It's about building a healthy sense of professional paranoia, where you're constantly thinking, how could this be exploited? How can I make this more secure? An employee who just fixes a problem is good. An employee who fixes a problem and then hardens the system against future problems is invaluable. This course teaches you to be that invaluable employee. So there you have it, the 5 pillars. From the fundamental language of computers, to the global conversation of networking, to the mastery of operating systems, the management of corporate infrastructure, and finally, the defense of it all. Each course builds directly on the last, creating a comprehensive, holistic skill set that makes you not just a technician, but a true IT professional. So let's break that down, because the difference between a technician and a true professional isn't just what you know, it's how you think. It's about developing an instinct. It's the ability to look at a cryptic error message, a blinking red light, or listen to a user describe a problem like, "The internet is broken," and not panic. Instead, you see a puzzle. You see a series of logical steps. You start troubleshooting. That is the core muscle this certificate is designed to build. And it does it through a brilliant three-pronged approach that mimics how we actually learn in the real world: seeing, doing, and reinforcing. First, let's talk about the seeing part. This is your video content. Now, if you're picturing a dry, monotone professor clicking through a 90-minute PowerPoint presentation, I need you to erase that image from your mind completely. This is Google. They've built their empire on user experience, and they bring that same philosophy to their education. The video lessons are taught by actual Google employees, the very people who live and breathe this stuff every single day. They're not academics in an ivory tower, they're practitioners on the front lines. And it shows. The lessons are concise, typically broken down into digestible chunks of 5 to 10 minutes. They're professionally produced, with clear graphics and animations that make complex topics, like how data packets travel across the internet, surprisingly easy to grasp. The instructors speak directly to you, not at you. They use analogies you can actually understand. They'll compare a computer's file system to a physical filing cabinet or explain networking protocols, using the metaphor of sending a letter through the postal service. It feels less like a lecture and more like you're sitting down for coffee with a senior IT expert who is genuinely excited to share their knowledge with you. They don't just throw terminology at you. They tell you the story behind the technology, the why it exists, which makes it stick in your brain so much better. But here's the most important part. Watching videos alone will never get you a job. You can watch 1,000 hours of professional basketball, but that doesn't mean you can sink a free throw. Knowledge is useless until it's applied. And this is where the Google IT certificate absolutely separates itself from the pack. This is the second prong, the doing part. I'm talking about the hands-on labs. This is, without a doubt, the secret sauce of the entire program. Integrated directly into the course are virtual lab environments provided by Quick Labs, now called Google Cloud Skills Boost. Let me paint a picture of what this means. You'll be watching a video where an instructor explains how to create a new user account and set permissions in Windows. Then the video ends and the very next item in your lesson plan is a lab. You click Start Lab, and within seconds, your browser opens a fully functional, remote desktop environment. You are looking at a real, live instance of Windows Server or a Linux command line. It's not a simulation. It's the real deal. On one side of your screen, you have a list of step-by-step instructions. Your mission: do exactly what the instructor just showed you. Create a new user named Jane Doe. Add her to the marketing group. Restrict her access so she can't install unauthorized software. You're not just clicking multiple choice answers. You are physically typing the commands, navigating the menus, and clicking the buttons. You are building real muscle memory. And here is the magic of it. It's a sandbox. It's a safe space to learn and, more importantly, a safe space to fail. Worried you're going to type the wrong command and break everything? Go ahead. The worst that can happen is you have to end the lab and start a fresh one. This is an incredibly powerful learning tool. In a real corporate environment, a mistake could take down a server or delete critical data. The fear of that happening can paralyze beginners. But in these labs, that fear is gone. You are free to experiment, to be curious, to poke around and see what happens. What does this button do? What if I run this command with a different parameter? This is how deep, intuitive understanding is forged. You'll start with simple tasks, like navigating the file system using the command line. It might feel awkward at first, but by the end of the program, you'll be performing complex operations that would impress a hiring manager. You'll be using command line tools like IP protocol configuration and ping to diagnose network connectivity issues. You'll be writing basic Python scripts to automate repetitive tasks. You'll be setting up user accounts and managing permissions in both Windows and Linux environments. You'll be using security tools to scan for vulnerabilities. Each lab builds on the last, and with each completed task, you feel a surge of confidence. That feeling of, I did it. I actually configured that. I fixed that. is more valuable than any textbook chapter. When you walk into a job interview and they ask you, "Do you have experience with Active Directory?" You won't have to say, I read about it. You will be able to look them in the eye and say, "Yes, I've created and managed user accounts, I've set up organizational units, and I've configured group policies in a hands-on lab environment." The difference between those two answers is the difference between getting a polite, "We'll let you know," and getting a job offer. Finally, we have the third prong of the learning process, reinforcement. This comes in the form of quizzes and assessments. At the end of each module, there's a graded quiz. These aren't designed to trick you. They're designed to solidify what you just learned from the videos in the labs. They ensure you've absorbed the key concepts and vocabulary. It's a quick check to make sure the foundation is solid before you build the next layer on top of it. These quizzes serve another, more subtle purpose. They train you to think in the language of IT. The questions are often phrased in a way that's very similar to how you'd encounter a problem in a support ticket, or how an interviewer might phrase a technical question. They force you to recall specific terminology and apply concepts to hypothetical scenarios. So while you're earning points toward your certificate, you are simultaneously and unconsciously preparing for the technical screening portion of a job interview. So you have this perfect learning loop. You see it done by an expert in the videos. You do it yourself in the risk-free hands-on labs. And then you reinforce what you've learned through carefully designed quizzes. It's a system that takes you from a complete novice, someone who might be intimidated by the very idea of the command line, and systematically transforms you into a competent, confident practitioner. You're not just memorizing facts for a test. You are building a practical, applicable skill set from the ground up, one lab, one command, one successful troubleshoot at a time. This methodology is the engine that drives the entire program, and it's the reason why its graduates are so well prepared for the reality of the job. But having the skills is one thing. Being able to prove you have them on a resume and in an interview is a whole different ball game. How do you take this newfound knowledge and package it in a way that makes hiring managers' eyes light up? Let's start by demolishing a myth. The biggest mistake people make is thinking the Google IT certificate is just another line item to list under the education or certifications section of their resume. That's like buying a Ferrari and only using it to get groceries. You are leaving 99% of its power parked in the garage. The certificate isn't a piece of paper. It's a documented 6-month-long deep dive into the world of IT. It is your boot camp. It is your first IT job. You need to treat it that way on your resume. Don't just list it. Feature it. Create a dedicated section, maybe right under your summary, titled Professional Development and Projects, or even just IT Experience. And under the heading Google IT Support Professional Certificate, you're not going to write Completed in 2024. No. You're going to use bullet points to break down what you actually did. Think about the 5 courses within the certificate. Technical Support Fundamentals, the bits and bytes of computer networking, operating systems, system administration and IT infrastructure, IT security. Each one of those is a skill category. Your job is to translate the labs and lessons from those courses into achievement-oriented bullet points, just like you would for a paid job. So, instead of just listing the cert, your resume now says something like this: Google IT Support Professional Certificate. Then bullet point 1. Mastered troubleshooting methodologies for diagnosing and resolving complex hardware, software, and networking issues across Windows and Linux environments. Bullet point 2. Assembled a computer from scratch to gain a granular understanding of component compatibility, BIOS/UEFI configuration, and operating system installation. Bullet point 3. Designed and configured a home network, implementing security best practices including WPA2 encryption, MAC address filtering, and firewall rules to secure data. Do you see the difference? The first version says, "I learned something." The second version says, "I did something." Hiring managers don't hire learners, they hire doers. Now let's talk about the secret weapon for anyone breaking into a new field: the projects section. You might be thinking, "But I don't have any projects. I just did the certificate." Wrong. The certificate is packed with projects, you just need to frame them correctly. Every single hands-on lab in the Quick Labs environment was a mini project. Your mission is to expand on them. Take what you learned and build something real, even if it's small. This is what separates the top 1% of entry-level applicants from everyone else. For example, the certificate teaches you about virtual machines. Don't just say you know what VirtualBox is. Go download it, it's free. Install a Windows Server virtual machine and a Linux Ubuntu virtual machine. Then make them talk to each other. Set up a shared folder. Ping one from the other. Congratulations, you've just created a client-server environment. Now put that on your resume. Project, Home Lab Server Environment. And under it, deployed and configured Windows Server and Ubuntu Linux virtual machines using VirtualBox to simulate a corporate network environment. Establish network connectivity between nodes and practice cross-platform file sharing protocols. The certificate teaches you basic Python scripting. Don't just say you know Python. Write a 10-line script that automates a simple task. Maybe it's a script that sorts all the files on your desktop into folders based on their file type. JPGs go in Photos, PDFs go in Documents. Put it on GitHub, it's free. Now you have a resume bullet that says, developed a Python script to automate file organization, improving workflow efficiency, and managed code versions using Git and GitHub. This isn't about being a master coder or a network architect. It's about demonstrating initiative. It shows a hiring manager that you're not just passively collecting certificates. You're actively, obsessively applying what you learn. You're curious. You're a problem solver. That's who gets hired. Next, you have to get this beautiful new resume past the robot gatekeepers. I'm talking about applicant tracking systems, or ATS. Over 90% of large companies use this software to scan resumes before a human ever sees them. It's looking for one thing: keywords. Your resume could be written by Shakespeare, but if it doesn't have the right keywords from the job description, it's going straight to the digital trash can. So here's what you do. Open up the job description for a role you want. Copy the entire text. Go to a free word cloud generator online and paste it in. The biggest, most prominent words in that cloud are your keywords: Active Directory, troubleshooting, TCP/IP, customer service, ticketing system, PowerShell. Your job is to become a keyword sniper. Go through your resume and make sure those exact phrases are in there, integrated naturally into your bullet points. If the job description mentions Active Directory, your resume better mention it. You can write, managed user accounts, groups, and permissions within a simulated Active Directory environment as part of the Google System Administration course labs. You're not lying. You did that. You're just speaking the language the company and its robots understand. And while you're adding those keywords, you need to quantify your achievements. Numbers are the most powerful tool on a resume. They turn vague statements into concrete accomplishments. Even in a learning environment, you can use numbers. Don't say, practice solving support tickets. Say, successfully resolved over 50 simulated user support tickets covering a range of software and hardware issues, consistently applying a structured troubleshooting framework. Don't say, learned about network security. Say, implemented a 5-point security checklist on a simulated network, including firewall configuration and user access controls to defend against common cyber threats. Numbers make it real. They paint a picture of competence. Now let's move from the resume to the interview, because all this work is for nothing if you can't articulate your value when you're sitting across from the hiring manager. This is where you connect your certificate experience to their real-world problems using a storytelling framework called the STAR method. STAR stands for Situation, Task, Action, and Result. It's the secret formula for answering almost any behavioral interview question, like, tell me about a time you faced a difficult challenge, or describe a complex problem you solved. Your certificate labs are a goldmine of STAR stories. Before any interview, you need to have 3 to 5 of these stories locked and loaded, ready to go. Let's imagine the interviewer asks, can you tell me about a time you had to troubleshoot a tricky technical issue? You don't panic. You smile because you've prepared for this. You launch into your STAR story. Situation. Certainly. In a capstone project for the Google IT networking course, we were given a simulated corporate network where users were reporting they couldn't access the internet. Task. My objective was to diagnose the issue from the ground up, identify the root cause, and restore service as quickly as possible, documenting my steps along the way. Action. I began with the basics, starting at the physical layer to confirm connections. Everything looked fine, so I moved up the stack. I used the command line to run an IP protocol configuration on an affected machine and saw it was getting an APAPA address, which immediately told me it wasn't communicating with the DHCP server. I then pinged the default gateway, which failed. This isolated the problem to the local network. I moved to the simulated server room, accessed the DHCP server, and examined its configuration. I discovered that the address pool had been exhausted due to an incorrectly set lease time. I immediately corrected the lease time parameter and restarted the DHCP service to force the clients to request new IP addresses. Result: within 5 minutes, all client machines successfully pulled valid IP addresses from the server, and internet connectivity was fully restored for all users. The experience was a powerful lesson in methodical, layered troubleshooting, and not jumping to conclusions. That answer right there? That answer gets you a job. It shows your technical knowledge, your logical process, your communication skills, and your ability to deliver a positive outcome. You took a lab exercise and turned it into compelling proof that you can do the work. You've built the perfect package. Your resume is a keyword-optimized, metric-driven masterpiece. You're armed with STAR method stories ready to deploy in an interview. You're no longer just someone with a certificate. You're a proven problem solver. But how do you get this perfect package in front of the right people? How do you cut through the noise of hundreds of other applicants and get your resume into the hands of a human being? That's where the real strategy begins. Let's be honest. The single most soul-crushing part of the job hunt is the silence. You spend hours tailoring your resume, you write a brilliant cover letter, you pour your heart into an application. And then, crickets. You send your resume into the digital void, what I call the resume black hole, and you never hear back. Why? Is no one looking? Are you not qualified? No. The truth is, a human being probably never even saw it. Welcome to the world of the Applicant Tracking System, or ATS. Before your beautifully crafted resume ever reaches the eyes of a hiring manager, it first has to pass a trial by combat against a robot. These systems are used by over 95% of Fortune 500 companies, and their one and only job is to scan your resume for keywords and phrases, score it, and decide if you're worthy of human attention. It's not personal, it's just code. And if you don't know how to play the game, you will lose every single time. So how do you beat the bots? First, formatting. This is not the time for your inner graphic designer to shine. That fancy 2-column resume with cool icons and a custom font? The ATS will scramble it into unreadable garbage. Stick to a clean, simple, single-column format. Use standard web-safe fonts like Arial, Calibri, or Times New Roman. No headers, no footers, no text boxes, no images. Your name and contact information should be plain text at the top. The machine is looking for data, not art. Second, and this is the most critical part, keywords. The ATS is a matching game. It has a list of keywords pulled directly from the job description, and it's scanning your resume to see how many you have. Your mission is to mirror the language of the job you're applying for. Go through the job description with a fine-tooth comb. If it asks for experience with Active Directory, your resume better say Active Directory. If it mentions troubleshooting network connectivity issues, you should have a bullet point that says Experience troubleshooting network connectivity issues. Don't get cute and say solving internet problems. Use their exact phrasing. Create a technical skills or core competencies section and load it with the relevant keywords. TCP, IP, DNS, DHCP, Linux, command line, customer service, ticketing systems. You earned these skills in the Google program, now make sure the robot can see them. Finally, the file type. Always check the application instructions. If they don't specify, a PDF is usually the safest bet as it preserves formatting. However, some older, crankier ATS systems still prefer a .docs file. When in doubt, a simple Word document can be your best friend. Mastering the ATS is a crucial first step. It gets you past the gatekeeper. But what if I told you there's a better way? A way to bypass the robot entirely and put your resume directly into the hands of the decision maker? This isn't a hack or a trick. It's the single most effective job search strategy on the planet, and it's called networking. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Networking. The word itself feels slimy. It conjures up images of schmoozing in a stuffy room, handing out business cards and faking a smile. Forget all of that. I want you to reframe networking for what it truly is. Building genuine relationships and gathering information. You are not asking for a job. You are asking for advice. People love to give advice. It makes them feel smart and helpful. And the hub for this entire operation is LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn profile is no longer an optional online resume. It is your digital handshake, your professional storefront, and your networking command center. If you don't have one, stop this video and make one. If you do, it's time for a serious upgrade. Let's start with your picture. It needs to be a clear, high-quality headshot of you and only you. You should be smiling and looking approachable. No sunglasses, no party pictures, no photos of your cat. This is the first impression someone gets. Make it a good one. Next is your headline. This is the most valuable real estate on your profile. The default is just your current job title, which is a massive wasted opportunity. Your headline should be a powerful statement of who you are and what you do. Instead of unemployed or cashier at grocery store, think like a marketer. A great formula is Google Certified IT Support Professional, key skill number 1, key skill number 2. Aspirational statement. Something like Google Certified IT Support Professional CompTIA, A+ passionate about solving technical puzzles. Instantly, anyone viewing your profile knows exactly who you are and what you offer. Now the About section. This is your story. Don't just list skills. Weave them into a narrative. Use the STAR method we talked about for your resume. Talk about your journey. After 10 years in the customer service industry, I discovered a passion for not just helping people, but solving the technical problems that frustrated them. This led me to pursue and complete the Google IT Support Certificate, where I developed hands-on skills in network administration, system security, and automation. I'm now excited to apply my decade of client-facing experience and my new technical expertise to a role in IT support. See, you've connected your past to your future and shown your motivation. Finally, fill out everything. List the Google IT Support Professional Certificate in the Licenses and Certifications section. Add every relevant skill you can think of to the Skills section, and I mean everything from the course, customer support, DNS, DHCP, command line interface, Linux, Active Directory. The more you have, the more searchable you are. Okay, your profile is polished. Your resume is optimized. Now the real work begins. This is the strategy that will take you from one of 1,000 applicants to one of 3 people getting an interview. Step 1. Create a target list of 15 to 20 companies you genuinely love to work for. Don't just think of the giant tech companies. Think about local hospitals, universities, banks, and manufacturing plants. Every company is a tech company now. They all have an IT department. Step 2. Go on LinkedIn and find people who work at these companies. You're not looking for the CEO. You're looking for 2 types of people. Those who are in the job you want, like IT support specialist, and those who hire for the job you want, like IT manager or help desk manager. Step 3. You're going to send them a connection request. But you will not just click the connect button. You will always add a personalized note. This is non-negotiable. The note should be short, polite, and specific. Something like, "Hi Sarah. I came across your profile and was really impressed by your career path at XYZ Corporation. I'm a recent Google IT Support Certificate graduate and am passionate about breaking into the field. I'd love to connect and follow your professional journey." That's it. It's not asking for anything, it's complimentary, and it shows you've done a tiny bit of research. Many of them will accept. Once they do, you wait a day or 2 and then you send a follow-up message. This is where you make your ask. And your ask is not for a job. It's for 15 minutes of their time for an informational interview. The message looks like this. "Thanks so much for connecting, Sarah. As I mentioned, I'm making a career transition into IT and I truly admire the work XYZ Corp is doing. If you have a spare 15 minutes in the next couple of weeks, I'd be incredibly grateful for the chance to ask you a few questions about your experience in the industry. I promise I'm not asking for a job, just a little bit of your expert advice." This approach is magic. It's low pressure, respectful of their time, and it frames them as the expert. You'd be shocked at how many people are willing to help. When they say yes, you prepare. You have smart questions ready. What does a typical day look like for your team? What are the biggest challenges you face? What one skill do you think is most crucial for success in an entry-level role? Based on my background, what advice would you give me for my job search? You listen more than you talk. You are a student gathering intelligence. And at the end of the call, you thank them for their time and ask one final powerful question. Is there anyone else you think it would be helpful for me to talk to? After the call, you send an immediate thank you email. You've now turned a stranger on the internet into a professional contact. A person who knows your name, your story, and your ambition. You do this again and again and again. You build a network, one 15-minute conversation at a time. And here's why this is the ultimate cheat code. You're building an inside track. Because when a position finally does open up at XYZ Corp, you don't apply through the front door and fight the ATS bot. You send a polite message to your new contact, Sarah. "Hi Sarah, hope you're well. I saw an IT support specialist role just opened up on your team. Based on our conversation, it seems like a perfect fit for my skills. Would you be comfortable with me listing your name on my application? What you're really asking for is a referral. And an internal employee referral is the golden ticket. It rockets your resume past the ATS, past the HR screeners, and places it directly on top of the hiring manager's pile, with a stamp of approval from a trusted colleague. You've gone from a nobody in a stack of 1,000 resumes to a recommended candidate. You've completely changed the game. This is how you get the interview. And once you're in that room, it's time to show them exactly what you're made of. The interview. This is it. The final boss battle. Your palms are sweaty. Your heart is trying to beat its way out of your chest. You're sitting across from someone who holds the key to your new life, and you have 30 minutes to convince them to give it to you. The pressure is immense, but I want you to take a deep breath and reframe this entire situation. This is not an interrogation. It's a conversation. They are not trying to trip you up. They are hoping you are the one. Think about it from their perspective. Hiring is expensive, it's time-consuming, and it's a massive pain. They have a problem, a seat that needs filling, work that needs doing, and they are desperately hoping you are the solution to that problem. You are not there to beg for a job. You are there to show them how you can solve their problem. That single shift in mindset from "please pick me" to "here's how I can help you" is the difference between a nervous wreck and a confident candidate. Your interview will likely be split into two parts: the technical and the behavioral. The technical is where they test what you know. The behavioral is where they test who you are. And spoiler alert, who you are is often more important than what you know. Let's start with the technical. This is where your Google IT support certificate becomes your superpower. You didn't just watch some videos, you learned the fundamentals of modern technology. But they won't just ask you to define TCP/IP. They'll test your practical application and, more importantly, your troubleshooting methodology. They'll hit you with classic scenarios. A user calls and says their computer is running slow. What do? The wrong answer is a list of random solutions. I'd check the RAM, maybe run a virus scan or clear the cache. That's guessing. The right answer demonstrates a process. First, I'd start by asking clarifying questions to isolate the problem. When did it start? Is it slow all the time, or only when using a specific application? Are other users in the office experiencing similar issues? Once I've gathered that initial data, I'd start with the simplest potential causes, checking the task manager for any resource hogging processes. Then, I'd move up the OSI model, checking for network latency if the issue is with web applications. I would document every step I take, so if I need to escalate the ticket, the next technician knows exactly what's already been tried. See the difference? You're not just a technician, you're a detective. You're methodical. Another classic. What happens when you type google.com into your browser and press enter? This single question tests your knowledge of DNS, TCP/IP, HTTP, firewalls, and more. Go back to your Google Cert Notes. Review the modules on networking and operating systems. Understand them, don't just memorize them. But what if they ask you something you genuinely don't know? This is a critical moment. Never ever lie or try to bluff your way through it. It's a massive red flag. Instead, you use the most powerful phrase in a tech interview. I don't know, but here's how I'd find out. It sounds like this. That's a great question. I haven't encountered that specific error code before, but my process for solving it would be to first check our internal knowledge base for any existing documentation. If I couldn't find anything there, I'd research the code on trusted sources like Microsoft's TechNet or Stack Overflow, paying close attention to solutions proposed by verified experts. I would also consult with a senior member of the team before implementing any changes on a production system. In that one answer, you've shown honesty, humility, a solid problem-solving process, and an understanding of teamwork and risk management. You turned a weakness into a massive strength. Now, for the second, more important part of the interview, the behavioral questions. These are the "tell me about a time when" questions. This is where career changers often panic. I was a barista. What do I know about dealing with a difficult stakeholder? Everything. You know everything about it. The key is to translate your experience using the universal language of success. The STAR method. Situation, task, action, and result. You need to prepare 5 or 6 of these stories before you ever walk into that room. Let's build one right now, using our barista example. The interviewer asks, "Tell me about a time you dealt with a difficult customer." A bad answer. "Oh yeah, we had angry customers all the time." I just tried to be calm and get them their coffee and they'd usually leave. A star method answer. Absolutely. Situation. I was working the morning rush at a busy downtown coffee shop, and a customer's mobile order was made incorrectly due to a system glitch. He was understandably frustrated because it was his second time coming back that morning, and he was now late for an important meeting. Task. My goal was not only to fix his order immediately, but also to de-escalate the situation and ensure he left feeling valued, so he wouldn't stop coming to our store. Action. I immediately stopped what I was doing, made direct eye contact, and gave him my full attention. I actively listened to his complaint without interrupting, apologized sincerely for the error and the inconvenience it caused him. While my colleague remade his drink on priority, I engaged him in a conversation, and then I empowered myself to give him a refund for the drink and a coupon for a free coffee on his next visit, which was technically against our policy for mobile order errors. Result: the customer's demeanor completely changed. He went from being angry to being appreciative. He thanked me for understanding, and not only did he continue to be a daily customer, but he even mentioned my great service in a positive online review a few days later, which my manager shared with the entire team. Boom! You just took a story about making coffee and turned it into a masterclass on customer de-escalation, problem solving, active listening, and taking initiative. You didn't just serve coffee. You performed incident response and managed client relationships. Every job has transferable skills. Retail work is inventory and asset management. Waiting tables is multitasking under extreme pressure. Driving for a delivery service is logistics and route optimization. Frame your past in the language of your future. Finally, you get to the end of the interview. They ask the fateful question. So, do you have any questions for us? If you say no, I think you covered everything, you might as well just get up and leave. This is your final test. It shows your level of engagement, your intelligence, and what you truly care about. Your questions need to be sharp. Don't ask about salary or vacation time. That's for later. Ask questions that prove you're thinking like an employee, not just a candidate. Ask, what does success look like in this role in the first 90 days? This shows you want to hit the ground running. Ask, what are the biggest challenges this team is facing right now, and how would my role contribute to overcoming them? This shows you're a problem solver, not just a task doer. Ask, can you tell me about a recent project the team completed that you were particularly proud of? This lets them brag a little and gives you insight into what they value. And if you're feeling bold, if the vibe is right, you can ask the killer question. Thank you for all the information. Based on our conversation today, is there anything about my background or experience that gives you any hesitation? This is a power move. It takes guts, but it shows incredible confidence. And it gives you a final chance to address any lingering doubts they might have, right there in the room. You walk out of that interview and your work still isn't done. Within 24 hours, you send a thank you email. Not just a generic thanks for your time. A strategic follow-up. Mention something specific you enjoyed talking about. I particularly enjoyed our discussion on the company's shift towards proactive security monitoring. Briefly reiterate why you're a great fit. My hands-on experience with network analysis tools from the Google curriculum would allow me to contribute to that initiative from day one. It's your last chance to get in their head and remind them why you are the solution to their problem. You've done it. You've navigated the application, the networking, and the interview. You've showcased your new skills and translated your old ones. You've asked the tough questions and followed up with grace. You've done everything in your power. Now you wait. And then the phone rings. It's them. They're offering you the job. But your work isn't over. In fact, the most important financial conversation of your life might be about to begin. Let's talk about negotiation. This single conversation, which might last less than 15 minutes, can be worth more than a month's salary. It can alter the entire financial trajectory of your early career. Because every future raise, every percentage-based bonus will be calculated from the number you agreed to right here, right now. Getting this right doesn't just mean more money this year. It means more money every single year you work at that company. So the first thing you need to do when you get that offer is fight every single instinct in your body that's screaming. Just say yes. Don't mess this up. They'll take it away. That's fear talking. That's the feeling of scarcity. You have to understand they don't want to take the offer away. They just spent weeks, maybe months, and thousands of dollars in employee time to find you. They've interviewed dozens of people. They've had meetings about you. They've decided you are the solution to their problem. They are invested. They want you to say yes. In fact, they expect you to negotiate. In the world of business, not negotiating can be seen as a sign of inexperience or a lack of confidence. You're not being greedy. You're being a professional. You're having a business discussion to determine your market value. The single most important rule of this entire process is this: the first person to say a number loses. Do not, under any circumstances, be the first person to name a specific salary figure. Think of it like a poker game. If you show your cards first, the other player has all the information. If you tell them you're looking for $60,000 and they had a budget of $75,000, you just lost $15,000 a year with a single sentence. You will never ever know that their budget was higher. They will smile, say, "That's great, we can definitely do $60,000. And you'll walk away happy, completely oblivious to the money you left on the table. So how do you avoid this? They're going to ask. A recruiter might ask you in the very first phone screen. So, what are your salary expectations? You need a script ready. Your answer should always be a polite deflection that puts the ball back in their court. Something like, "I'm really focused on finding the right fit right now, and I'm still learning about the specific responsibilities of this role. I'd be more comfortable discussing compensation once we're further along in the process. Would you be able to share the approved salary range for this position?" 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you the range. And just like that, you have your first piece of critical data. If they push back and say, "We really need a number from you to proceed," you can say, "I'm flexible, as I'm sure the total compensation includes benefits and potential bonuses. My priority is the opportunity itself, and I'm confident that if we both agree I'm the right person for the job, we can agree on a number that is fair and competitive." You are a broken record of professional deflection. Your goal is to get their number first. Now, while you're going through the interview process, you're not just sitting around. You are doing your homework. You are building your case. Negotiation is not about what you feel you deserve. It's about what the market data says you are worth. You need to go to websites like Glassdoor, Salary.com, and PayScale. If you're interviewing with a larger tech company, Levels.fyi is the gold standard. You're going to search for titles like IT Support Specialist, Help Desk Technician, or Technical Support Engineer. And you must filter by your specific metropolitan area in the United States. A salary in San Francisco, California is wildly different from a salary in Omaha, Nebraska. You're looking for entry-level roles, 0 to 2 years of experience. You're going to gather data points, lots of them. You're creating a dossier. Out of this research, you will define 3 numbers for yourself and you will write them down. First, your walk-away number. This is the absolute minimum you would accept, below which you would politely decline the offer. You never ever say this number out loud to anyone. It is for you and you alone. Second, your target number. This is the realistic, well-supported number that the data suggests is a fair market rate. This is the number you'll anchor your negotiation around. Third, your dream number. This is the top of the range, your stretch goal. It's not a fantasy number. It should still be within the data you found, but on the higher end. Okay, the moment arrives. The phone rings. It's the recruiter. They tell you how much everyone loved you, and they formally extend an offer. They say the number. Let's say it's $62,000. Your heart is pounding. It might be more than you've ever made. It might be less than you hoped. It doesn't matter. Your reaction is exactly the same. You take a breath. You pause for a second. Then you say calmly and warmly, "Thank you so much for the offer. I am so excited about this opportunity and the possibility of joining the team." Then the most important part. Would it be possible for you to send that over in an email so I can review the full compensation package? That's it. You don't accept. You don't reject. You don't react. You express gratitude and you buy yourself time. This is non-negotiable. Getting the offer in writing does 2 things. First, it makes it real. Second, it gives you the space to think rationally, away from the pressure of a live phone call. It also allows you to see the entire package, health insurance costs, 401k matching, paid time off, potential bonuses. The base salary is only one part of the equation. Now you have the written offer. It's time to formulate your counter. You can do this over email or schedule a follow-up call. A call is often better because tone is hard to convey in writing. You start the conversation just like before, with genuine enthusiasm. "Hi Jane, thanks again for sending that over. I've had a chance to review it, and I am incredibly excited about joining the team and helping to streamline the internal ticketing system you mentioned. You've reaffirmed your interest. Now you make your case. You present your data. Based on my research for IT support roles here in the Dallas area with companies of a similar size, and considering the skills I've developed in network protocols and cybersecurity fundamentals through my Google certification, the competitive market rate appears to be more in the $68,000 to $72,000 range. Notice what you did there. You didn't say, "I want more money." You said, "The market data suggests." You're removing yourself from the equation and making it an objective, data-driven conversation. You also subtly reminded them of your specific, valuable skills from the Google certificate. Then you make the direct ask. "With the value I know I can bring to the team from day one, I was hoping we could get closer to $70,000. Would that be possible?" And then you stop talking. The silence might feel uncomfortable. Let it be. Let them be the first to respond. They will come back with one of three things. "Yes, we can do that." "No, the offer is firm." Or most likely, "Let me see what I can do." This is where the real negotiation begins. They might come back and say, "We can't do 70, but we can meet you in the middle at 66. Now you have to decide, is that above your walkaway number? Is it close enough to your target? And remember, it's not just about the base salary. If they say the base salary is firm, you can pivot. "I understand. Thank you for looking into that. Since there isn't flexibility on the base salary, would there be an opportunity for a sign-on bonus to help with my transition into the new role? Or, could we explore adding an extra week of vacation time? Or, is there a budget for professional development? I'm already planning to pursue the Google Cybersecurity Certificate, and company sponsorship would be a huge factor for me. A $5,000 sign-on bonus or a $2,000 training budget is real money. It all adds up. Once you've reached a final agreement and you are happy with it, you verbally accept. "Thank you so much, 66,000 is a number I'm happy with. I accept." But you follow it up immediately with, "I'm looking forward to receiving the updated offer letter." Do not do anything, do not give notice at your current job, do not post on LinkedIn, do not celebrate publicly, until you have that final revised offer in your inbox with the correct numbers on it. This is your insurance. This is your proof. This process is intimidating. It will feel uncomfortable, but it is the single greatest thing you can do to advocate for your financial future. You didn't just complete the Google IT support certificate. You invested in yourself. You proved you could learn new valuable skills. Now is the time to be compensated for that value. This is the final step. You've earned it. Now go and get it. But what does get it actually mean? It doesn't just mean accepting the job offer. It means walking in on day one and not just surviving but thriving. It means turning that certificate on your resume into a reputation as the most valuable new hire they've ever had. This is where the real work and the real reward begins. This is the playbook for your first 90 days. The blueprint to solidify your place in the tech industry and set the stage for a career that goes far beyond entry-level support. Let's break it down. Month 1 is not about being a hero. It's about being a sponge. Your single most important job in the first 30 days is to listen, absorb, and learn. You will be tempted to prove yourself, to jump on the hardest ticket, to solve the problem no one else can. Resist that urge. Your primary goal is to understand the ecosystem you've just entered. Who are the key players? Not just the names on the org chart, but the informal leaders. Who's the person everyone goes to when the network is truly broken? Who's the server admin who knows every line of the legacy code? Identify these people. Be polite, be respectful, and listen to them. Your second goal is to master the tools, specifically the ticketing system. Whether it's Jira, ServiceNow, or some custom-built monstrosity, this is your new home. Learn its every quirk. Learn the shortcuts, the templates, the proper way to categorize and escalate tickets. Your goal is to become so efficient at the administrative side of the job that it becomes muscle memory. This frees up your brain to focus on the actual problems. During this month, you ask questions, but you ask intelligent questions. Never ask a question you could have Googled. Never ask a question the company's own internal documentation could have answered. Frame your questions with the work you've already done. Instead of saying, "How do I fix this printer issue?" you say, "I'm working on the printer in accounting. I've already checked the driver, restarted the spooler service, and confirmed connectivity by pinging the IP address. The documentation mentioned a known issue with firmware version 2.1, but this unit is on 3.0. Is there a common next step I'm missing here?" See the difference? One makes you look helpless. The other makes you look like a methodical problem solver who respects other people's time. In month 1, you are a detective, gathering clues about the company culture, the technical environment, and the people. Now we enter month 2. The sponge starts to squeeze. You've absorbed the basics, now you start to contribute in a meaningful way. You've been handling the common tickets, the password resets, the software installs, the "my monitor isn't working" calls. You're good at it. You're fast. Now, you look for opportunities to add proactive value. You'll start to see patterns. Maybe every new marketing hire needs the same 5 software applications installed. A process that takes a technician 45 minutes of manual clicking. This is your chance. You can approach your manager and say, "I've noticed we spend a lot of time on new hire setups for the marketing team. I was thinking we could probably write a simple PowerShell or batch script to automate the installation of those 5 core apps. It would cut setup time in half. Would it be okay if I took a shot at drafting that in my downtime?" You are no longer just closing tickets. You are solving business problems. You are saving the company time, which is the same as saving them money. This is how you get noticed. Month 2 is also about building relationships. You identified the key players in month 1. Now you connect with them. Ask that senior network engineer if you can buy him a coffee, and pick his brain about how the company's VLANs are structured. Talk to the security analyst about the latest phishing attempts. You're not just being social. You're building a network of experts you can learn from. You are becoming part of the fabric of the team. When you solve a tricky problem, don't just close the ticket and move on. Take 5 extra minutes. Write down the solution in a clear, step-by-step format and add it to the team's knowledge base. The next time someone faces that problem, your name will be attached to the solution. You are building a reputation for competence and collaboration. This brings us to month 3. The architect. You are no longer just a new hire. You are an established member of the team. You've learned the environment, you've started to contribute value, and you've built relationships. Now, you begin to architect your future at the company. You schedule a 90-day review with your manager. But you don't walk in empty-handed. You walk in with a plan. You prepare a simple 1-page document outlining what you've accomplished. In my first 90 days, I've closed over 400 tickets with a 98% satisfaction rating. I developed a script that reduced marketing onboarding time by an average of 20 minutes per user. I also documented the fix for the recurring VPN authentication issue. You are presenting data. You are showing them, with evidence, the return on their investment in hiring you. Then you pivot to the future. You say, "I've really enjoyed my work on the networking tickets, and I've been studying for my CompTIA Network Plus certification in my own time. I'd love to get more exposure to that side of things. Are there any projects with the network team where I could assist?" Even just by handling the initial triage. You aren't asking for a promotion on day 91. You are expressing a passion, demonstrating initiative, and asking for an opportunity to grow in a way that directly benefits the company. This is how you steer your career. You don't wait for opportunities to be handed to you. You create them. You end the meeting by asking for feedback. What is the single biggest thing I can do in the next 90 days to become even more valuable to this team? This shows humility and a commitment to continuous improvement. It tells your manager you're not just here for a paycheck. You're here to build a career. This 90-day plan is your launchpad. But the journey doesn't end there. The Google IT Support Certificate was the key that opened the door. It was not the final destination. The tech world moves at a blistering pace. The skills that are valuable today might be obsolete in 5 years. Your real job, your lifelong job, is to be a continuous learner. That Network Plus you were studying for? Get it. Then look at Security Plus. Then maybe you explore the cloud with an AWS or Azure Fundamentals certification. Each one of these isn't just a piece of paper. It's a new set of skills, a new language you can speak, and a new justification for a higher salary. You have to get comfortable with the idea of always being a student. That's the secret of the highest earners in this field. They never stop learning. And as you do this, something incredible will happen. You'll experience a mindset shift. You'll stop thinking of yourself as the person who used to be a barista, or the guy who used to work in a warehouse. You'll stop feeling like you're just playing a part. You'll realize that you are a tech professional. Imposter syndrome is real, and you will feel it. Every single person in this industry feels it. See it as a good sign. It means you're pushing yourself. It means you're in a room where you have the opportunity to grow. Acknowledge the feeling and then get back to work. You started this journey because you wanted something more. A better job, better pay, more stability, more interesting work. That Google certificate was your declaration of intent. Everything you did after, the resume, the projects, the interviews, was proof of your commitment. But landing the job isn't the finish line. It's the starting line of a whole new race. The race to become not just competent, but exceptional. The race to build a career that doesn't just pay the bills, but fulfills you. You have the tools. You have the knowledge. You now have the exact blueprint for the first 90 days to make an unforgettable impact. You belong here. You earned this. Your future in technology is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. A choice you make every day when you decide to learn more, contribute more, and become the most valuable person in the room. Now go build it.